Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a look at the new Slate Digital FGDS, which is a brand new 500 series module plugin that fits inside of the VMR, which is the a replication or reproduction or an emulation of the de-esser of the Model 902. And they also make, I believe it's the 500, I don't know what the 500 series model number is, but I'll put an image on the screen as well. So we're going to take a listen to this on some vocals and show you how it works. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, blah, 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 blah. Also considering hitting the thanks button if this video is helpful to you anyway. It supports what I do here and I greatly appreciate it. Also, if this is your first time here, I want you to go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com because I want to give you a free mixing course. It's worth about $100. It's my gift to you just for visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you something else for free. All right, so let's get in here into Studio One and let's take a look at the FGDS. Now, I will say a couple of things. First, about Slate Digital, and I've said this for years. I've been using Slate Digital plugin since the very first one that came out, long before there was a VMR, long before there was an all-access pass in the subscription service. And I've said it then, and I say it today, and I've said it over the last 10 years. If you're someone jumping into third-party plugins for the first time from your stock plugins, students ask me all the time, where should I start? I always say, the All Access Pass by Slate Digital is the best bang for buck of any plugin pack on the market, hands down, and I have almost all of them. You've seen all the demos on the YouTube channel. They don't make a bad plugin. They have everything you need to mix any kind of music. They have that nice analog kind of vibe and flavor. And no, this is not a sponsored video. Slate Digital doesn't know who I am, except they probably know that I'm a customer. They don't give me anything for free. They don't pay me for any of these videos. I've actually tried to reach out to them from time to time in the past to try to work out some kind of a, promotional deal, and they don't even respond to me. So they don't know who I am, but I love their products, and I love Steven Slate's stuff. He makes awesome stuff. If you have the All Access Pass, this comes for free. They put out about 2 plugins a year for the All Access Pass. And what's great about the All Access Pass is all their plugins and all their updates are absolutely free. Here is the FGDS. So before we take a listen to this and walk through it, let me show you this little vocal part that I have here that I've isolated here in green with a couple of S's and a couple of happening here. Here is the untreated. I think it's untreated. Let's just double check that one. Shut that off. Here we go. Here is the original vocal in isolation.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Okay, so we have S's and we have chase, sunrise, chase, a lot of S's in there. Now, I will say, in the way I kind of teach de-essing with all of my students in a lot of my courses is, for the most part, and we're going to see how this one works, I'm not a big fan of de-essers. I've used all of them. Most of them are not very good. The only one that I think is really pretty good is the other Slate Digital one, the Ilios, I think it's called, de-esser, that comes as part of the All Access Pass. That's a decent one. Here's the thing about de-essers, and I typically will manually de-ess a vocal, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, is sometimes with de-essers, what ends up happening is in order to capture the S's so they're under control, you end up darkening up the entire vocal. And sometimes there's finicky and you have to futz with it. Yes, that's a technical term. You have to futz with it so much just to get it to be de-essing enough, but not too much and not darkening up the vocal, that to me, it's so much easier and so much more precise to manually de-ess a vocal. I will show you how to do that in a minute. I've done dedicated videos on the channel on how to do that. But let's see how this works, because like I said, Slate doesn't make a bad product. They don't make a bad plugin. And I feel the same way about gates. I hate using gate plugins. The only gate that I'll ever use that I think is a home run is the one they do in this VMR, the classic gate and the drums gate right here. And I've done videos on these. This is fantastic. So we're going to see, can Slate change my mind about de-esser plugins like he did with the gate plugins? So let's go ahead and let's walk through this thing quickly. Let me first turn it on here. Okay, so it's a real simple de-esser to use, and it looks just like the hardware unit. We have a mode button up here, which is for high frequency only, which means it's going to have a more narrow frequency range that it's going to kind of capture. When it's not in high frequency mode, the Q value is a little bit wider, and it's going to capture more of the frequencies on either side of the frequency knob that we set here, which again could darken up the vocal if you have a lot of S's and you over de-ess. So it's nice that they have a high frequency mode. We have a gain reduction meter here on the left, which makes things easy to see. We have a frequency selector here. We have a listen button here, so you can kind of isolate the S's and just listen to the S's. Underneath that, we have how much we want to de-ess. They have this little label here called norm, which is kind of like, when you set it there, it's kind of like the preset. That's about the normal amount of de-essing. Anything above this is going to kind of over de-ess. And again, it depends on your source material. We have an output knob to kind of trim it up or down if we need to. And then what's really cool about this, which is not on the original hardware, is we have this mix control, and Slate does this on a lot of his plugins, and a lot of other manufacturers do as well. That let's say you need to over de-ess on this, but you want to dial back the mix knob, so you could kind of, again, find that fine line between too much de-essing where you capture the S's, but then you darken up the vocal too much, to not having enough de-essing. So it gives you a little bit more control, which is really cool. And that's it. He also has a couple of some presets up here, and just like with the Gate plugin, his presets are very usable, which is one of the few plugin companies where the presets are usable. Most of them aren't, but on Slate's plugins, they are. And again, I know I'm saying great things about Slate. Like I said, it's not a sponsored video. I just really think he makes great products. They really, really do. And so anyway, here we go. So let's listen to this little loop again, and let's try to dial in some de-essing and see what we get here. Let's start with the high frequency mode off, and let's see if we can just dial it in. Here we go.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So just at its default, let me put it back on its default. Let's try, oh, we got to put the range up to norm. Let's listen to it before and then after. Without de-essing.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
With de-essing.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Okay, a little bit better, but we're only doing a couple of dB of gain reduction here. So let's crank up the range a little bit, and let's see what that does.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Big difference.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Okay, so without even having to change the frequency, it's set at 2.5K. We'll adjust that in a second, but you can already hear what a difference that makes. And we're doing about 6-7 dB of gain reduction there, or essing deduction. Let's go ahead and let's just keep the settings the same, but let's use the high frequency only mode, and let's see how that differs. I'll play it once without it, and then the second pass through, I'll turn it on. Here's without it.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So in the high frequency only, it doesn't capture the S's as much because again, it's going to be a more narrow band, which is totally fine. Now let's mess with the frequencies and let's use the listen here to see if we could kind of dial in. Well, where's the best frequency to set this thing at to try to capture it where we can use the range as subtly as possible, but get the best effect out of it so we don't darken up the vocal too much. So let's just start with it here and let's turn this on and let's just start playing with this. Let's try that around 4.5K. Let's see what this does. I'm not sure what this does here. What does this do?
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Okay, here's without it.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Here's with it.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So it cuts it down pretty good. Let's see if we go ahead and boost up the range a little bit more. Let's just see how much becomes too much.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So now we're de-essing quite a bit, and it captures a little bit more when we're in the non-high frequency mode. So let's dial back some of the wet dry just to see how that kind of reacts to this. And we'll put it in context with the rest of the mix. I just want you to hear it in solo a bit.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
Okay, without it.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
With it.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So it's pretty flexible in that you can really dial this thing in. Now, again, this song, let's play it back in the context of a mix. This song is not mixed. There's not a single plugin on it. I just threw up some faders a little bit. Let's just hear it with the rest of the raw tracks in the background, kind of how this sits. Because in isolation, it sounds like, wow, there's a lot. It's still pretty essy, still pretty sibilant. But in the track, it may not be as bad. So let's listen.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So in the track, you can dial, I actually turned up the mix, but then pulled back the range a little bit. So you could kind of get in there and you could kind of mess with it. It does a pretty good job. It's better than most of the de-essers I've tried on the market. Again, the only other one that I think even comes close to this is the Ilios by Slate, but it's got a lot more controls there. This is a lot more stripped down and simple, and you don't have to put another plugin on because you could just drop it in your VMR, which makes it kind of nice in the 500 series kind of format, which is really, really good. So again, just like all the other plugins Slate does, he doesn't make a bad plugin. They just don't. This is really good. And you get it for free if you're part of the All Access Pass. Now, but let me also, again, we could even pick a preset here if you wanted to go. This is a male, like a male de-esser. That's where it kind of leaves it. Let's solo this up again.
Sunrise, chase the darkness far away. Sunrise, chase the darkness far away.
So again, the preset's pretty damn close, and I put it at they put it at 2.5K. I had it up around 5K, but because we're using the non-high frequency only mode, it gives you a more coverage, what they call, I think, a wide band as opposed to a more sharp narrow band. So again, great plugin. Now what I want to show you is how I would typically. Now this is really bad. The S's in this are pretty sibilant, pretty heavy. And again, if you didn't want to use a de-esser, what I typically do on a lean vocal, I'm going to show you how quick it is. Instead of messing around with a de-esser if you don't want to, or sometimes you can do what I'm about to show you and then put a little light de-essing after it just to kind of capture what maybe you have missed. No de-esser on this thing right now. Here's our S. Right there, sunrise. So the way you manually de-ess is if you zoom in on the audio waveform. As I start to zoom in, you'll start to see the audio start to break apart. It separates here. But what you'll see is that the S kind of stays like a a blob. It looks like a little football is what I call it. What I do is I'll just take my blade tool and cut on either end of it and just do this. And usually it's about 6 to 8 dB is a good starting point. Now I'll zoom out. Listen to this. Oops, sorry.
Sunrise.
Right, listen again.
Sunrise.
As opposed to this.
Sunrise. Sunrise.
Same thing here. If I separate this, you'll see the little blob, the little football. I'll cut on either end and I'll just lower it. If I only have a few S's in my song or in my track, now listen.
Sunrise.
Right? No de-esser necessary. Same thing with the consonants. Chase. Separate it. See the little football? I like this much more than any de-esser. So I'll lower it about 6, 8 dB and listen. Chase. Right at the end of the word chase. Right?
Chase.
And if I separate, this one's not too bad. It's right here. Let's take a look here. Hold on.
Chase.
It's right here. And this one's a little bit more difficult to see. This is where maybe the de-esser would a little light de-essing, just a little light de-essing.
Chase the darkness.
Chase the darkness. There it is, that big S right there. Now this takes a little more time depending on how sibilant your vocal is, but it's much more accurate in my opinion. But if we use it in conjunction.
Chase the darkness far away.
Right, so now we have those parts DS. Now I could go in with my Slate and I could turn it on and maybe we're just doing a little bit of light de-essing, just a little light de-essing.
Sunrise. Chase the darkness far away.
Let's turn it off.
Sunrise. Chase the darkness far away.
With it.
Sunrise. Chase the darkness far away.
This is how I like to use a de-esser more times than not. I like to manually de-ess where I need to because I get more control, and then I don't have to over de-ess with a plugin, which will then sometimes, depending on the source material, has to be de-essed so much that you end up darkening up the vocal and you spend more time fiddling with, another technical term, to get the thing to sit right. So by using manual de-essing techniques along with something like the FGDS, it really works nice because you can do it very subtly and then it'll just kind of, catch the areas where you don't need to over de-ess. It keeps the track sounding more natural. And when we're talking about the lead vocal, which is the star of any song, I'll take the time to go in and manually de-ess. Yes, it takes a little bit more time, but it's more accurate that way. But this is a great plugin. Again, he doesn't make a bad plugin. I highly recommend you check it out. Again, if you don't have the Slate All Access Pass, I highly recommend it. At the recording of this video, I think it's somewhere around $15 US a month. You get all his plugins, and like I said, there's not a bad one in the bunch. He makes fabulous plugins. They work really, really well. And I tell all my students that are going into third-party plugins for the first time, you buy the All Access Pass, you don't need another third-party plugin, period. And I truly mean that. Great stuff. Another great plugin by Slate. Now, I hope he comes out with the DBX 560 compressor in the 500 module. That's what should be next, Mr. Steven Slate. So, great job as always. Awesome. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Now, as I said at the beginning, I'm here to give you something else for free. So if you have not done so before or already, I want you to go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and get your free mixing course. It's right on the homepage. It's a big orange button. You can't miss it. Take that training. It's absolutely free. If you dig my style of teaching and you want to take one of my more full-length, fully featured training courses, and I have everything from compression to EQ to mixing to mastering to parallel compression to recording to mixing drums to recording drums and so on and so forth, I want to give you a coupon code to take a discount off of any one of my training courses. The coupon code is YouTube25. Just put that in at checkout. It will take 25% off any training course on the website, and I think you'll really enjoy those courses. And I have several courses where we use a lot of the Slate Digital plugins. And because we're talking about mixing, if you really want to learn the craft of mixing in a very non-technical way, perfect for beginners, intermediates, and even advanced level mixers, I highly recommend you check out my mixing membership website, mixingmadeeasy.net. All the links will be in the description box below. So thanks so very much for joining me this time. And until the next video, I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com and mixingmadeeasy.net, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.